Our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has backflipped on plans to cut the annual refugee intake by a third. Mark, how are you going to make your immigration targets if you are now increasing the refugee numbers back to 20,000?
Well, this is not a backflip, Nat. This is a restatement of a position.
The Refugee Council were told it was reduced, and then the Prime Minister increased it again.
Well, I think we should all take the word of the Prime Minister for the position of the government. We've had for many years a humanitarian intake number of 20,000. We only reaffirmed it at our national conference last month in Adelaide. I mean, yes, it has to go through the usual process of budget renewal, but there's been no change for a number of years in the Australian Labor Party position on the humanitarian intake.
Are you saying the Refugee Council that said they'd been advised by Tony Burke's department that it was being cut to 13,750, are you saying they're wrong?
Well, I can say there was no position change by government. As I said, only last month at the national conference we reaffirmed our intake number at 20,000. At 20,000, which I think is the reasonable number alongside our strong border protection arrangements. I can't tell you why they said that. It may well be that there was some communication about the need for a budget renewal process, but to the extent there was any confusion in the public commentary yesterday about this, the Prime Minister dispelled that, and that reflects, as I understand it, the ongoing position of our government, which was to maintain a reasonable humanitarian intake number of 20,000.
Okay. Last word, Jane. You have said
I think Labor
you
all
want
over
under
the shop on this
200,000. What would you have for the refugee intake?
Well, we've actually said that we will target our migration program according to the number of houses built. And I think Australians understand that there's a massive housing shortage right now. We shouldn't be inviting people into the country that we can't house. Labor are all over the place on their migration policy.
And what would your refugee intake be, Jane?
Have a speech cancelled. Well, we will announce our migration mix closer to the election based on the number of houses that are built, and will be responsive and responsible at the time based on the needs at the time. That's 18 months away. But Labor needs to announce their policy now because they're in charge. They're pulling the levers, but they are all over the place. Tony Burke's already had his speech cancelled. He's already had the Prime Minister contradicting him publicly. Labor needs to make up their mind where they're going to need to go, and their conference suggested 25,000 refugees, not 20,000, Mark.
Okay, and Tony Burke has said that policy is coming. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Here's Chevo.